evening. Recorded all intact. Hopefully no network issues tonight. Yesterday we had a good time. Today we're looking to build on what we've been able to learn from yesterday. As you can already tell, the remastered version of the Beginners Bootcamp is far different than the regular bootcamp that you all came to know and love. And I hope that you have felt the difference and you are enjoying the difference. And my aim is to make sure that everything someone needs to know about Forex, they are able to understand it at the beginner's level. You see, normally it should be the other way around, where it's really, really expensive getting in and then it gets cheaper going down. But no, we want to make as many people join the beginners bootcamp because I have a few things that I want in my outcome. One, paying $40 to learn how to trade Forex is like it's nothing. Okay, anybody and everybody can afford $40. It would then be up to you to decide if this journey is worth taking. If you decide after the beginners bootcamp that you don't like this concept of Forex, at least all you spent was $40. That's why I did this. I don't want people to spend thousands of dollars learning how to trade, going to different gurus, and then at the end of the day, they find that it's not for them. So this beginners bootcamp is like a cost-effective way of determining whether you want to take this journey of Forex or not. The second thing is, when you are able to understand the foundation, what my aim is that the Forex profits that you make should afford you other levels or other products. I wanted to design this system where every level should teach you how to make money to be able to afford the next level. If you have to go out of pocket to get the next level, it means that you didn't absorb what was learned at this present level. So don't think that, oh, I'm a beginner and there's more in mastery, so I'm going to go borrow money to get into mastery to learn more. No. Whatever you need to be able to get to the next level is already here. It is up to you to take this seriously. Now, the biggest mistake people make in this village is this. Pay attention to this because it's very, very important. People want to pass because they want to pass. They are not going through their level to learn. I'm going to repeat that again. People enter a program or a product for the mere fact that they have passed to show their certificate. It's a big thing in our culture that you can go to your village and say that my son is a doctor or is a lawyer or is an accountant and they have a degree or a certificate. We don't do that here. Why do we have a certificate? It's because when you display characteristics or trading traits that are not part of this curriculum, we use that against you to say that, no, according to the beginner's level, you are able to identify and understand how to appropriate stop losses and take profits. So when you are blowing your account, we refer to your certificate and say, no, you have this certificate, which means that you know the information, but you're choosing not to follow such information. This is why we have an exam. And I think based on this new beginners bootcamp, there's going to be a new exam. So thank God for those who have already passed through the first time. You don't have to take this exam if you don't want to. But everyone coming in going forward, they're going to be taking this new exam. And we want to be very, very particular about how people pass to get through the next level. I don't want people to say that they want volatility and they know it's a uni prerequisite, so they're going to try and skim through beginners and mastery just to get volatility. I don't want people to have that mindset here. Everything is about timing, and everything is about mastering the level of where you are at so you can be able to be prepared for the next level above. And speaking of time, it has led us to this topic of times and seasons. It's the most understood yet misunderstood concept in the beginners level. If you agree, drop a 111. Most of the times when beginners are fighting, they're fighting over the time aspect. They're fighting over seasonal aspects. Such things of, it's Friday and I have some trades that are in profit, but I don't want to close. No, I stipulate if it's Friday, you close no matter what, whether you've won, whether you've lost, whether it's, you know, neutral, whatever the trade is, by Friday you should close and you should withdraw. because the hallmark of a successful trader here actually isn't the amount of pips that you've been able to attain, but the amount of pips you've been able to withdraw. It's one thing to make money, it's another thing to keep money. And so we kind of checkmate Forex ego with people flashing their MT4 with blue screens. And we say, where is your withdrawal receipt to justify this? And most people might say, I'm not comfortable showing my withdrawal receipt, and I'm fine with that. But then there should be some form of evidence to say that what you are learning, you are applying, and it's feeding you. And if it's not feeding you, then you are doing something wrong. Most people don't even ask me for my withdrawal receipts anymore. But when they come to where my businesses are, businesses being plural, they know that Forex money went into this. So if you're not going to show a withdrawal statement, show fruits, because we will know them by their fruits. And in the village, we will know them by their withdrawals. Amen. Drop an amen to the chat box if you're with me so far. So in the beginners level, we check people right at the door. In the village, we check people right at the door, and it might be harsh and it might be rude, but the industry is showing fakeness of, you know, demo profits and fake withdrawals and all this other stuff. We want to see proof because we're believing in godly and biblical principles, and that is, you need to show fruits that what you are doing and what you are studying is the way to go. If not, then you are wasting your time. And there's no need of taking your money to subscribe to something if it's not going to benefit you in the end. So we're going to review this times and seasons aspect. I'm going to add a lot more into it that I didn't in the last thing. Whatever we teach you at this level means it's for this level. If you are a mastery student and you start posting in beginners mastery elements, you're going to be removed. And I might even make it such that when you move up to the next level, you will no longer be in the previous level. We did that for the Rhombus course, and I think that's worked fabulously. How many are in the Rhombus course and feel like it's a bit fresh being out of the Rhombus theory group and having a group dedicated to Rhombus mastery where you're just focusing on what you've learned? It doesn't confuse other members who have not been exposed to new information. So I might make that element that once you graduate, you move up and you're focusing on the group that you are in. And then when you graduate from mastery, you move up to university and you focus just on university. Because when you're in Form 1 and you move up to Form 2, you're not going back to Form 1 classes, are you? No. When you're in level 400, okay, you're not going back to level 100 classes. That's not happening. So we need to make sure that whatever is being taught at this level is what is being stuck to. Drop a 111 if you are with me so that we can move on and up. I thank you once again for joining me on this Sunday evening. I'm just hyped. I'm really hyped. I'm really hyped this evening. It seems like, okay, now I'm seeing some 111. So it seems like other people are hyped with me. Why is time so important? Time is governed by principles, and principles are governed by spirituality. Seasons are also governed by spirituality. And money is a spiritual element. If you don't apply spirituality to money, you will not know how to make it. Okay? If you use fleshly or carnal mindset to try and attain money, you'll find that you won't be able to keep what you've attained. So you have to understand that the timing aspect, the seasonal aspect, and the money-making aspect are all spiritual-based things. The first thing that God thought of after seeing that the earth was formless and the spirit was hovering on the waters of the earth, he was saying, let there be light. Okay, but that light was not the sun. Okay, that light was an establishment of principalities and an establishment of spirituality, letting them know that there is something that is governing everything else that will come after. So that light was he himself. Then later on, God then decided to separate the skies and separate the land, so there will be seasons. And those seasons always come and go. You see that there was a time in the book of Genesis that God was angry at the world, and then he wanted to flood it and start all over again. He chose a man by the name of Noah. And then after everything was said and done, and when Noah and his group were able to get off the ark, God told Noah that never again will he flood the world. but there will always be seasons. There will always be seed time, and there will always be harvest time. So God has to abide by his own word by saying that everything is seasonal. All right. King Solomon later went on to stamp that and says there's a time for everything, a time to laugh and a time to cry, a time for life and a time for death. There's a time for everything. And when it comes to a respecter of time, we remember the sons of Issachar. We remember them as the ones that remembered their times and seasons, but we barely remember their names. But their lineage went on to discover the Christ, where the Magi from the east discovered a sign in the sky and they said, look, it's the season, it is the time to be able to act. And based on that season and that time, they were able to meet the king, offer gifts, and the rest is history. So if you don't understand how time and seasons work, okay, you are always going to be behind the clock. You're always going to be late. You're always going to leave late. You're always going to arrive late. You're always going to enter late. You're going to exit late. And it's going to be very, very bad for you. So times and seasons is very, very important, especially for this level. Once you are able to instill the discipline at this very level, when you go up at other levels, it becomes easier and easier. The easiest product that we have in the whole of the village is the volatility course. Yet it's the last topic. Why is it easy? Because of all these foundational elements that we've instilled from the beginners level to adulthood. That is why we are pressing on this topic more and more, times and seasons. And as human beings or as retail traders, what we are exposed to is that when we find a winning formula, our mind will tell us to find something else. That's how we are. But we want to be able to stick to this. Your mind is going to say, yes, it was said that you shouldn't trade on this day, but I saw a massive move. So next time I'm going to trade on this day because I want massive moves. And it may happen for you once, and it may happen for you twice, but after 3 times you'll blow your account, and then you'll hear my voice again say that don't trade on this particular day. Times and seasons. Let's get started. We are going to divide it into the 5 active days of the week, the 5 business days, the 5 working days, and we're dividing it up to let us know what is going to happen. We have Monday, we have Tuesday, we have Wednesday, we have Thursday, we have Friday. Now, I am saying at a beginner's level, this is what we focus on. At mastery, guess what? The rules change, the formulas are added, so you can know where the market is going. So, let me breathe for a second. Let me do one thing. I'm just going to pause the video for 1 second. Hold on. So, let's break this down. We're reflecting this onto the days of the week. And I said yesterday that you don't want to spend any more than 10 hours on your charts. And some of you are going to fight this fact until you actually try it. So let's go through the days of the week of what should and should not be done. And then what we're also going to add are things that you can also do to fill your time. Because it's not the hard thing of knowing what to do and what not to do on a particular day. The hard thing is what to do in the time that I'm supposed to be waiting in between my trade entry, in between waiting for my profit, and distracting me from looking at my chart 30 or 40 times during the day. The Monday is a day, okay? Monday is a day that we declare as a day of confusion. And for beginners, we're not going to allow you to chew meat when you don't have teeth. On Monday, whatever you try to sell may buy, whatever you try to buy may sell, okay? And there's a reason for that. The markets know that most retail traders are looking at the markets all the time. So what they do on Friday is they set up what may look like a good buying or selling opportunity because they know first thing when the markets open, you are going to be there. And they'll do things like make gaps in the market. They'll do sudden movements in the market to trap you into the next element or the next market open, which we will cover just after this. So I normally advise, I recommend, let me put it that way, because I can't tell you what to do with your money. It's not financial advice, it's educational recommendations, that the day of Monday you refrain from trading until you get to the mastery level where you know where the market is going. The last time most of you blew your account happened either on a Monday or on a Friday, and you were crying through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because you said in your head that your analysis was correct. Monday is not a day you want to trade, because Monday, they being the ones that move the market, they know what you are looking for, and they will create setups that will look like what you are looking for. So I dub this as the day you work on your offline business. And as we grow in the village, I am actually going to be speaking less and less about Forex and more about being an entrepreneur and pioneering as an entrepreneur, because your money needs to be going somewhere. So it's your offline business day. It's the day that you work on your hobbies. Maybe you want to read your favorite books. If you're not working, maybe you want to hang out with friends. Maybe you want to go volunteer somewhere, maybe a shelter or feed the homeless. Maybe you actually have a business. You're selling perfumes like myself, or maybe selling books, or maybe selling ice cream. Whatever it is, that is the day you want to be able to focus. Maybe you want to set up administrative works. Maybe set your goals for the week. But this is the day where you plan how to build offline. This will fill your time by not looking at your charts all the time. And normally, sometimes I used to show results on a Monday, and people will say, well, Papa, you said we shouldn't trade on Monday, but you're also trading on Monday. So not now, you don't normally see me posting charts unless it's one of those required days, which is normally Tuesday or Wednesday. But I'm a main advocate for offline business, working on your business, not your job, because your job is building someone else's business. Unless that job is paying you well, then by all means, toot that horn. But I'm looking at someone that wants to create wealth, and that creating wealth will allow you to be able to do other things. Okay, so that is the day I want you to focus off the charts. The markets are always going to be there. Setups are always going to be there, but do it at a time or at a space in a place where it will be beneficial to you. Can I get a 111 if you are with me so far? That is Monday. Now, Tuesday is where the market begins to pick up form. We call this the formation day. Okay. This is the day where you will see certain things forming in the market. You will see maybe particular patterns that you like to trade. They are getting ready. You will see, a setup for, reversals and all that stuff taking place. It's a day you want to analyze the market. It's a day that you want to prepare yourself and see what the market is doing, because Tuesday often sets the tone for what's going to happen for the rest of the week. Okay, so you want to be able to be ready. And we used to do a thing called trade house, but because of the coronavirus pandemic, we've had to suspend trade houses and all that stuff until we can get to a place where we can gather again. But on the Brain Hub, we fully focus on Tuesday being the formation day. Okay, when you grow, you see that other currencies and other instruments are traded on other days, but this is primarily for Forex. So it's your day for analysis. What are you looking at? What is your trade plan for the week? How do you plan on executing? Which pairs do you want to execute? Because it's not every pair that you need to trade. You devote that day particularly for analysis. Now, some of you have tried to be sneaky by putting in a quick 1 or 2 trades on a Tuesday, and then when Wednesday comes, you get burnt. How many of you are here? Confession is key. Tell the truth and let the devil be ashamed. How many of you try to put in a quick one on a Tuesday thinking that, yes, I'm going to get an extra 50 pips if I enter now, and then come Wednesday, everything has gone haywire? I'm setting up this format so you can be disciplined from the very, very beginning. And then you can add flavor when you have experience. Do not give in to the temptation of seeing GBP pair flying 100 pips and you want to catch the rest of that move, because GBP can easily reverse against you. And we're going to go through currency checks in this beginners boot camp as well, which we never did on any of our platforms. So Tuesday is that day of analysis. Wednesday is the day, typically the day of execution. And if you do this right, you will make the majority of your pips on the Wednesday execution. Why does this normally take place? Because Wednesday has been dubbed, not just in Forex, but around the world, as the day of a reversal. So the reversal day is not something that I coined. It's something that the universe reacts to. Where I'm from, we call Wednesday hump day, okay? The middle of the week where things begin to pick up. At your workplace, Wednesday is where you're lit because you're beginning to see the weekend in your horizon. Monday and Tuesday, you are dull and you are slow because you don't want to be there. You had a great time on the weekend, and now you're forced to be in a place that you don't want to be unless you're doing your offline business where every day is a weekend, right? So you want to really pay attention to what you analyzed on the Tuesday, getting ready for what you need to execute on that Wednesday. And if you are able to do that, most of the pips that you want to be able to get will happen on that Wednesday. Everything that happens after that, Thursday, Friday, they're just bonuses. Okay. So going on to Thursday, what normally happens? If we are fortunate and we're on the right side of a move, Thursday is normally a continuation of Wednesday's momentum. Okay. So if the market decides to push in one direction on Wednesday, Thursday, if we are fortunate, if you're on the right side of the trade, if you've made your analysis very clear from Tuesday, Thursday will then continue what Wednesday already initiated. And that is a day where at the end of Thursday, you are looking to try and close some positions. You're looking to try and withdraw some positions because Friday is a day you want to get out of the market. This is the beginner's blueprint. I haven't deviated from this since I taught this. And those who have followed this blueprint have done really, really well. That day, I made the 42,700 pips. I only traded Wednesday and Thursday. I had my pending orders set on Tuesday because I knew I was going to teach on Wednesday. And by the time the market went and hit, all these things went crazy. Wednesday, Thursday, I was out. People are on this call. Then they're not going to hide the fact. If I'm lying, they can tell me. Some of you, who's from Zimbabwe here? Is anyone here from Zimbabwe when it happened? I'm sure, Lawrence, you're on the call. You heard about it because South Africa is a neighboring country. But that was the day where people were like, okay, this geometry is real if I really pay attention. So if you do this well, you have your offline business on Monday that you focus on. You're building your empire. Tuesday is where you're seeing the market beginning to form. Spend 1 to 2, 3 hours tops on a Tuesday analyzing what the market is doing. Wednesday is a day of executing the plan that you made prior. Okay. Thursday is a continuation typically of what happened on Wednesday, and Friday, no matter what, close. And if you want in brackets, I'm going to say close, preferably two hours after New York session. That is like the limit I will put on that because things happen right after New York session. So for those who haven't had the opportunity to do the bootcamp with me, we're going to go through what a typical human being goes through in terms of their emotions when they are working in a working week. We know that on Monday, many of us are not thrilled to get up and go to work because there's traffic on the road. Okay, everything can possibly go wrong on a Monday. You have work drama that hasn't been resolved. You had an amazing weekend and you're still having that nostalgia feeling. And so you don't want to be there. So you have to understand that most of the people who are trading are also workers. And if they're working on Wall Street, they're going to have this same approach as well. So investors are not going to be looking at the market on Monday because they're not going to be focusing on Monday's results. It's the retail traders that are trying to push 1 or 2 quick pips. But productivity is often low on a Monday. As Tuesday comes up, you know you're stuck there for the rest of the week. So guess what? You're going to start actually putting in the work. But between Tuesday and Wednesday, you're going to see a complete difference in work attitude. Wednesday, you know the weekend is around the corner and you know you have jobs to do. And if you don't complete those jobs before Friday, guess what? You are stuck behind. So Wednesday is where you start kicking things into gear. And that is why you want to execute when the momentum starts going really, really high. Thursday is where you want to, really make sure that things are done, because Friday you plan to be at work, but you plan not to be there psychologically. You're mentally absent. You're just there to just tick so you can get your pay at the end of the month. And this is the mindset that I have adopted into Forex, because I believe Forex, faith, and life are all intertwined. What you apply to one is what you're going to apply to the rest. And the book of James says that a double-minded man is a fool and he cannot do anything in his life. So you cannot say that you're going to act this way in life, but then can be completely different on Forex. The market will burn you as a result of that. So you have to be one way no matter what phase of life you are in. If you're not productive on a Monday, you cannot expect the market to be productive for you. It's not how life works. Wherever the VIM is or the power is where you should be investing into that. And if you're not, then don't trade what you cannot be. That's what I'm trying to say. When you grow into mastery, you're going to learn that 3 of these days do not matter anymore. And I'm going to give you a clue now. Monday doesn't matter anymore. Thursday doesn't matter. Friday does not matter when you get to that next level. But we want to be able to implement a disciplinary blueprint for you to work by. So this debunks the whole notion of, well, I work all the time, so I don't have time to trade. I've just made it easy for you. Spend no more than 10 hours in a week to trade, realistically 3 days out of that week, and you're dedicating every Friday to being Withdrawal Friday. You need to place a withdrawal, no matter what the amount is. Why do I care so much about withdrawing? Anyone who does opposite of this, they'll come back and say that I was right. Many people say, oh, I want to compound because compound interest is the 9th wonder of the world. Okay, that's nice. Let me know if that works for you. The reason why I am pressing on withdrawals every week is because your mind has always been subjected to doubt. Our human conditioning is always looking for the bad way out. And so if you don't reward yourself when you need to reward yourself, your mind is going to start playing tricks on you to say that this thing doesn't work. That is why when you are paid, the week you are paid at your workplace, there is energy because you finally have seen the rewards of your fruits. However, when you are working and you're not seeing payment coming back to you, your productivity goes low because you think for the times that payment hasn't come, your work has been not justified or not being compensated with the amount of work that you put in. So Forex needs to work the exact same way. Every week, if you withdraw, even if it's $5, and you go and you eat with that $5, you have now conditioned your mind to tell your mind that it works. Because guess what? It's not just your mind saying it doesn't work. It is your friends saying it doesn't work. It is your family saying it doesn't work. It is your pastor saying that Forex is gambling, saying it doesn't work. It is your teacher saying that you need to get a degree and this Forex thing doesn't work. It is the banking system telling you that this system of investing doesn't work. So if you can then withdraw and touch the money that you've worked for online and touch it in the flesh, right? You've told your mind that this thing works. And then you've now looked forward to the following week where you can trade because last week this thing worked. So this week, whatever I did to get that result, I am now going to replicate. Type in a Y or a yes if you understand this. So I dedicate Friday as Withdrawal Friday, Show Your Fruits Friday, Fruity Friday, Finance Friday, Withdrawal Friday, however you want to hashtag it. Yeah, 2 hours after the beginning of New York. All right, we're going to go through times after. Okay, you remember when I did a 30 pip week? Yeah, exactly. It's not the first 30K pip week I've done. I've done about 3 of them. But this one was something that I did live from scratch. $16. Let me see what I can do. Many people have seen me do 100 to 1,000 in a single day. Many people saw the flipping of volatility, 80 to 5,000 in a day. These things are normal in the village now. Now you're seeing someone else do a $15,000 day, right? So whatever you want to hashtag it, it's fine, but people need to withdraw. You need to. And what your aim should be, and this is where we're going into our trading journal, but what your aim should be is whatever you're being paid in a month, that is what your aim should be for the month. And if you can do it in a week, that's great, because then whatever is left is profit. But you need to be withdrawing. You need to. It's not I want to, or I want to compound and wait till I get to $10,000 before I withdraw. In fact, let me ask this question and see how many people will say yes. How many people here have said that when I get to $10,000, that will be my first withdrawal? How many of you have done that and it's worked? I'll wait. How many? There's 46 people here. How many have said that I'm going to wait till I get to $10,000 before I touch a single dollar? I'll wait. There's 46 people here. Don't rush me. How many have tried and said that I'll get to $10,000 and then got to $10,000 and withdrew? If that is you, type in a Y or a yes. If that is not you, type in an N. No, it didn't work. Those who are new, look at the comments that are being displayed right now. We've been told that no, get to a certain point, then withdraw. Do $5 a day, $5 a day, $5 a day. When you get to 10,000, then that's when you can withdraw and buy whatever you want. No, it doesn't happen. Doesn't work, doesn't happen. Not that it doesn't work, but it won't work for here. Why doesn't it work for here? Because, let me be a little bit spiritual with you. Every house has a set of rules that it's governed by, okay? Every leader that is a visionary, that is pushing forward an agenda, has a covenant with a deity or an entity. My covenant is with God. And so with that being said, the principles that I have laid down are in line with the condition and the covenant I have with God. So when we say withdraw every Friday and you decide not to, it won't work. If there are pastors here, they can attest to this. There is something that is governing this, and that is withdraw every week. I'd rather you withdraw $20 every week to be able to supplement something else than you thinking that you're going to get to a certain goal that is far beyond our reach and then burn everything in the process. So those who are new, pay attention to this. Make sure that you're looking to withdraw, even if it's $1. $1. I want to see that withdrawal. Do not be ashamed that you withdrew $1, because it's $1 more than somebody didn't get. And that $1 you withdrew was probably because of someone's $1 that they lost. Who's with me on this one? Type in a Y or a yes. Please, please, please make sure you are aiming for weekly withdrawals. Many people are not going to agree, but until they can show me why they don't agree by getting to that goal, then we can have that discussion. Okay, please aim for, look, even if I say do a $10 challenge, withdraw $10 every week, I'll be happy. Me personally, I'll be so proud, because I don't care about that dollar amount that you withdraw. Don't think that if someone withdraws 15,000 and you withdraw $15, that I'm going to frown. No, my pride, or what makes me proud, is the fact that whatever you applied is feeding you. And I will rejoice the same way, whether it's 5 figures, 3 figures, 2 figures, 1 figure, 6 figure, no matter what, as long as you are withdrawing. Okay. Whew, that was good. So let's review this one more time. Everybody should have something that they want to work on. So we'll review this New York thing, because I didn't want to touch on the market cycles yet. But this will make sense when I combine everything together. Monday is a day of confusion. Stay away as a beginner, okay? I don't want you to go to mastery and say that I thought Papa said that no, we shouldn't trade on Monday. The rules are different there. Day of confusion. Don't even entertain the chart. Focus on building a dynasty. Focus on building a franchise. Focus on building a market chain. Focus on building something that is tangible, because as much as you need the online money, you need the offline money too. Then Tuesday is a day that you're looking for a formation to take place. I'm going to give you an example of how formations take place when we get into market structure. Wednesday is a day of execution, and it's typically the reversal day. Okay, remember this when we go into market structure. Thursday, typically speaking, is a continuation of what happens on Wednesday. Not all the time, but it depends on the strategy that you're going to pick. And then Friday is a day. It's non-negotiable. But what happens if close? What happens if one of my trades is down $15? No, close. Because if you've made 500 pips in a week, which is your goal, and you are down by $2, it doesn't matter. Your flesh is going to say, take every cent. Leave no cent unturned. I am saying, what you have, be grateful, withdraw, thank God, do it all over again. If you apply this, I am telling you, you will turn into the next man that built and owned a pharmacy starting with $7. How many of you know that story? How many of you know about the $7 pharmacy story? It happened right here in Ghana. I want to give you a quick gist. This man started with $7, I believe. Is it $7 or $4? I think it was 7 or 11. And he said that this happened, was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't even remember now. But it happened in Ghana. I won't mention his name for security reasons, but he started growing this and he followed this all the way through, withdrawing every week, even though it was from a $7 account. And before you knew it, he owns his own pharmacy now. And he said that he couldn't believe that through weekly withdrawals, he was able to cover expenses that were exceeding $7,000 from a $7 account. Why? Because the principle of this should be able to supplement the offline business. Now he's an owner of a pharmacy. That is a place that is very, very lucrative, okay? But those are the principles that are governing this village. Let's go on to this next one before we take a quick break. Market cycles, market opens. Many of us either have been to an airport or a Forex bureau before, and they have what they call the major currencies in the world, okay? And those major currencies happen to govern how money works. And so each central bank of those major currencies are responsible for transactions that take place in their respective 9 to 5. Excuse me. Okay, so this is how I want to define it. Each central bank is responsible, each central bank of a major currency is responsible for transactions taking place in their 9 to 5. Make this smaller. That's why it's important to really understand times and seasons, when to do things and when not to do things. So every central bank of a major currency is responsible for transactions taking place, in their respective 9 to 5. So what this means is that if Ghana were taking care of transactions for Africa, it means that any currency that's coming through their central bank is going to determine whether a currency is strong or weak in a particular region. So what you need to understand is that the smaller the bank, the slower the transactions, because many transactions are coming through, but there's not enough manpower to be able to process those transactions. The bigger the bank, the faster and the more volatile transactions will take place, and that will then reflect in the market. Small banks equal small volatility. Volatility is not the volatility cost that we're talking about. We're talking about momentum or reactions in the market. Small banks mean small movements. Big banks equal bigger movements. Sorry, it's hard to type and speak at the same time. All right. So when we are looking at the market opens, and there's a reason why we say certain markets, be careful of don't trade in those markets is because you're going to be trading in an area that has small volatility. It could trap your trade, and then it might go against you when the big banks start to open. Okay, so in this, when we're looking at the major currencies in the world, let's break this down so we know what is actually running the world. Major currencies we have the New Zealand dollar, we have the Australian dollar, we have the Japanese yen, we have the Swiss franc, we have the euro, we have the Great British pound, we have the US dollar, we have the Canadian dollar. No matter where you go in the world, any airport, these currencies will be listed first when it comes to your local currency against a major currency. And these currencies happen to be where these central banks are operating, where transactions are taking place. Type in a Y or a yes if you're with me. So you don't want to be caught in a place where you are trading big, where markets are working small. And that is why maybe people haven't made this connection yet. You want to be in the place where the big men play. You want to be in the place where there's volatility so you can ride that wave. So it's not so stressful. And so when you're looking at this, I've typed this in the order of where the markets open and when the markets close. So the first market that opens is the New Zealand market, Wellington. Every day, this is the first bank that opens, okay? Starting of the week and starting of the day, this is the first bank that opens, the New Zealand market, okay? Now, let's be interactive with this one and see if everybody remembers what time this bank opens. Go according to your local time, because everything is local time, but if you're in Ghana, you can help me out here. What time does the New Zealand market open? Who remembers? While you're looking at that, I'm going to bring up the world map so you can see how New Zealand looks, because it's good to be able to have a picture in your mind of how or where these banks are operating. World map. Let's see if I can find. I remember doing this last time in the beginners boot camp. It took me a while to find a good atlas. So hold on. High resolution. Let's see if that one loads. So who can help me here? $10 p.m. Nigeria. Which is 11 p.m. Nigeria, yes. GMT +1. Ghana Man time +1. So it's 10 p.m. Ghana time. So what I want everyone to do is, I don't want to write a time on the trading view, because everyone would think that that time is cast in stone around the world. So what I want everyone to do is, in your local time, convert what has been said to your local time. So if someone is saying GMT +1, 10 p.m., they're saying what? What are they saying exactly? So that other people get to understand what is being said. There you go. All right. So that is 11 p.m. Nigerian time, which means it's not 11 p.m. Ghana time. No, because we are GMT. So we are at 10 p.m. in Ghana. In another place, I think Eastern Standard. Okay, I see it. Eastern Standard Time is 5 p.m. on a Sunday, like early evening. Meanwhile, it's our night time. So that's why I don't want to put in a fixed time to say that, oh, if I write in 10 p.m. Ghana time, and then someone comes back and they're looking back, they're going to say, oh, I'm in Nigeria. So if it's 10 p.m. Ghana time, it's 10 p.m. Nigeria. Because we had a lot of confusions with that the last time through. So I'm going to write my local time, but I'm going to keep on stressing and stressing and stressing to now convert that to your local time. So New Zealand is the first market that opens, and that is 10 p.m. Ghana man time. Hallelujah. Now I know why Ghanaians are late to everything. Okay. Night time. Now, let's see the world map. Let's see if I got it in the full screen. If not, I think everyone could see the other one. So I'll show you where New Zealand is. So you know what you are up against when you think that trading at night is cool. I had to learn this lesson the hard way in Australia, right? So everyone can see the map. I hope everyone can see. I'm going to annotate on my own screen where New Zealand is. This is New Zealand. This is where one of the major banks are doing transactions. Let me do another one like this. This is New Zealand, everybody. So while New Zealand is open during their respective 9 to 5, they are handling transactions that are taking place in Australia, happening in Asia, where Japan is, handling transactions all through Europe and Southeast Asia, handling transactions in Africa, okay? Because Africans don't sleep when it comes to money, handling transactions when it comes to US, and handling transactions when it comes to South America. Now, with all that pressure, do you think New Zealand has the capacity to be able to process every single transaction that comes through? Yes or no? What do you think? Absolutely not. Okay. So now, when we're going back to our local time and we are saying that, hey, don't invest in trading at night, it is because a smaller bank is taking care of all the transactions. Now, there are shakeups that happen every now and then. That is granted. They don't happen all the time. They happen maybe once a month. And we're able to predict when that happens. It happens like the last Wednesday of every month or something like that. So the last Wednesday every month, we set our pending orders, which we'll go through later. And we say that, okay, we're expecting a sharp move from New Zealand and New Zealand alone that can go up to 1 to 200 pips. By the time we wake up, we are well in profit. We'll teach you how to set pending orders. So New Zealand is not really the place you want to be staying up at night. Instead, what do you think you would be doing at this time of the day or night? In Africa, what are we doing at 10 p.m.? I can't speak much for the US because it's still around, supper time, dinner time. So they could be doing other things. But what are we doing in Africa? Sleep and have a sound one. Go to bed. Chill with wifey. Spend, if you're up, do something productive. You don't need to be in the charts, not at all. Don't waste your time, okay? Because nothing may happen. So someone may look at the map and they recognize Australia and they say, well, if you're saying that New Zealand is small and it can't handle transactions, then what about Australia? So let me highlight this. Australia opens 1 hour after New Zealand, which will be 11 p.m. Ghana time. So this is Australia, where I was born, where I was raised. And that place is huge. But let me do a quick Google search on the population of Australia. Australian population. This number is going to shock you. I said popular, didn't I? Population. Can you see the population of Australia? As of 2018, according to our census, there was an account of 24 million, let's say 25 million people, as of 2018, 2 years ago. That doesn't make 1% of Nigeria. 66% of Australia is actually covered by desert. This accounts for this number. So when you're thinking, oh, Australia is a huge place and I want to be able to go there and change my life, let's just know that you're coming to a place that doesn't have that many people. This statistic might actually shock you. Let's compare this to what Ghana has. Because we know that Nigeria has 200 million people accounted for. Look at Ghana, 29.7 million people as of 2018. Now look at Ghana on the map and look at Australia. If I can find Ghana, God help me. This is Ghana, this green area over here. This is Australia. And we have more people here than here. So even with the manpower of New Zealand and Australia handling transactions around the world, there is not enough manpower to be able to push the market in the desired direction. If you understand this, drop a 111 into the chat box. Notice how this time through I'm really taking my time to explain how this works, which is why I say, hey, oh, it's not even up to Lagos. Wow. So that's why I say, like, go to bed, do something productive. Maybe you can chat amongst yourselves in the Telegram group, but no one should be saying at 12:45, is anyone looking at JPY pairs? No, go away. Wait till morning time. So back here, Australian session, they call this the Sydney market because starting here on the right side of Australia, going towards the left side of Australia, there's a 5-hour difference. Okay, so they call it the Sydney market, and that starts at our time, Ghana, 11 p.m. And daylight savings can actually change these times. So this is why it's not fixed. When daylight savings comes, you need to either change it forward 1 hour or back 1 hour. Okay, so these two markets together cannot push the whole world. So when we're thinking about logic here and we're thinking about transactions and why the market doesn't move, this is the reason why. Excuse me. And you're going to see that being translated as small candles. Not really much to push. But now you're going to say, well, what about Asia? Asia's big, right? Biggest population, I believe. Africa being the second biggest, I believe. What about Asia? Well, Asia has a role to play. You got to know that their economy, even though there are more people, it's super inflated. Everything's super cheap there. All right. And whether it's by design that they've been able to take over different retailing aspects and people order there all the time with their cheap quantities, but having so many people, they're able to buy out most of these countries. I don't know if it's done by that design, but the Japanese market or the Tokyo market has a particular role that it plays. All right, and it starts 2 hours after the Sydney market opens. So 1 a.m. I think we're back to normal time. So I'm saying it's 1 a.m. unless anyone begs to differ, because the times always change. So let's say it's 1 a.m. What are we doing at this time of the night? All right. I know what the witches in my family are doing, but me, I am snoring. Don't laugh at my jokes. All right. So there's a role that the Asian market plays, and if you're not careful, you may blow your account before it's time. What the job of the Asian market is, it's designed to trap your trade in. So they're going to give you false movements that take place during this time. And in this time, if you're not careful, you're going to fall for those movements. You're too tired to keep awake. By the time you wake up, your account is blown. Many people will do this, and not only do this, they will do this on a Monday, double trouble. So the Asian market's job is to make sure that it's going to make you think that it's buying when it's not really buying, or it's selling when it's not really selling. You want to stay clear out of these three markets. Each of these markets go for 8 hours each. New Zealand market, Australian market, Asian market, do not trade. No need. Are we cool? Are we clear? Are we clear? We're almost at 1 hour into this session. I was even going to break it up into 2 parts, but hey, here we are. We haven't even started today's lesson, which is amazing, right? So now we're going into where people's attention should be. The next 3 markets. We have 3 more markets that happen. There are 6 markets that are running in every given day, and we've gone through 3. And those 3, lucky for us in Africa, which is why I believe that God loves Africa, changed my mind. That is, these things take place at night. You guys don't understand that it took me nearly 7 months to know this. Because I'll be like, how come the market is so slow while I'm awake in Sydney, Australia, while I'm at work? And then when I'm about to go to sleep, everyone is like celebrating because the market has moved. I used to wonder this all the time, blowing up account, trying again, blowing account, trying again, blow, try. Then I realized that, hey, there is volatility in certain parts of the market that cannot be justified in the smaller banks. It's justified in the larger banks. So the next market that opens is the Frankfurt market, and its job is one. Its job is to fake you out of the position that you may have taken in the Asian session. Frankfurt market. Okay, so I'm going to lump the Frankfurt market and the next market into one. This Frankfurt market is known as the fake out of all the markets. Okay, Friday, fake reversals take place. Friday, Frankfurt, F is for Frankfurt, and then also F is for fake. Those 3 things, remember those 3. Because whatever decision that Frankfurt decides to take, it's normally a decision to trap you in your trade and cause you to panic and then lose. So if you buy, it might sell. If you sell, it might buy. So if you're in the Asian session, let me go over here. And let's say, for example, you have decided that you're going to sell. This is what Asian market typically does, right? So you are here and you're deciding that, hey, this market is pushing down, so I'm going to sell. And so you then go to sleep thinking that by the time you wake up, you got breakfast on the table. All of a sudden, something just wakes you up. When you're trading Forex, you don't need an alarm clock ever again. Okay? You wake up and then all of a sudden you are in red. It's now gone in the opposite direction. You start thinking that, no, when I was going to sleep, it was selling. But when I slept, it then started buying. So you tell yourself, or you trick yourself into thinking that when you're awake, the market is going in your direction. All right, so we're gonna have to take a break in 15 minutes because my laptop has just decided it wants to do an update. But then I will be off, but the Zoom will keep on resuming. So whoever I give host to, remember to give host back to me. So anyway, you see the market is pushing down. You went for the sell, then it pushed up. Now you're negative. You're watching the market, then it begins to sell again. You're happy. You go to sleep. When you're sleeping, the market then pushes up again. So Asian session's job is to make sure it just does this the whole time. And then at the end of the Asian session, it will finish where it started. Now you still have your sell in the market. And then Frankfurt opens and says, hey, look what we have here. We have a seller. Well, what do? Let's trick him. Bang. So it does this. It goes higher than where it was. Before here, it was comfortable for you. You're saying it's only $30 I can manage. But now here, boy, $100. You don't know what to do anymore. And this is where the trick starts happening. You then close because you're scared that you lost so much money. After you close, it then begins to go down. You're thinking, I wish I held my sell. So you start selling down here, and guess what it does? It comes back up. Bang. So now it starts buying. You don't understand. So as it's buying, you buy up here. They say, we got you again. Then it starts selling. So Frankfurt's job and the first hour of London's job is to make sure that whatever you're thinking to do is not the real thing to do. How many of you have gone through that experience? God knows I've tried. God knows that's been a painful one for me. But that is what the job is for Frankfurt going into London. However, London, whenever London starts, yes, the first hour or so, it might continue what Frankfurt is doing, but then London will typically go in the direction where it's supposed to go, and it will keep on going in that direction for the rest of the trading day, even into New York. And then what New York will do at the end is that it may go up just a little bit for it to then continue doing what it's supposed to do. It does that every day. Okay. So be careful entering into the Asian session thinking that you want to get in some quick pips, because this may happen to you in the Frankfurt session, going into the London session, and by the time you've lost your money, this is where other people have won, and this is where you're crying saying that, but I got my analysis right. I'm going to use this opportunity to let you know that Forex does not pay you with your analysis. It pays you for being correct. So don't be so fixed on being analytical, be fixed on making money, but we'll go through that a little bit more. I don't want my computer to restart just yet, but it will restart very, very soon. So let's go through these times. Frankfurt, who remembers the time that the Frankfurt market opens? Frankfurt market, what time does that open? Is it 8 a.m. now? Someone confirm with me. Those who have taken this course, is it 8 a.m. now, or is it still 7? Who remembers? Someone says 8 a.m. Someone says 7. I'm going to assume the one who said 7 is in Nigeria and the one who said 8 is in Ghana, correct? It is 8 a.m. So this is what you're looking for. This is the time that you're awake. You're seeing what is happening in the market. Bang. 8 a.m. is where you're expecting these fake moves to take place. And then 9 a.m. onwards, maybe from even 10 a.m. onwards, that is where you see the true move of what's happening with London. Okay. London is the biggest bank. It's the economic capital of the world, but it's not the most traded currency in the world. The most traded currency in the world is the US dollar, but the biggest bank in the world is London. That is why there's so much mess happening with Brexit. Because if the biggest bank is now removing themselves from the European Union, you can see why there's been so many delays. So 8 a.m., that's where the fake out happens. And then by then, New Zealand has been closed. Australia has been closed. The Japanese market, the Asian market is closing. Now the fake moves are starting to take place. Why do these fake moves take place? Because the smaller markets could not handle the transactions taking place. When the bigger banks were able to come in, they were processing much faster, which meant that a lot of things were coming through faster, which results in volatility and bigger movements taking place in the market. So this market is the market that you want to be able to trade in, the London market, the Frankfurt market, because if you know it's pushing dramatically in the opposite direction, you should be able to prepare yourself of where it may likely go going forward. So I'm going to highlight this as green as go to. This is where you want to be trading, green. And I'm going to make the previous one red as no, stay away from it. It's not the place that you want to be able to trade in, okay? And then you have the New York session that is governed by the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. And that's around, I think, 1:30, 2 o'clock onwards. So from 2 or 1 till 9 or 2 till 10 thereabouts, it's the New York market that is running, okay? And what normally happens towards the end of the New York session is that the price begins to fall back a little bit. So it may be pushing down, but then towards the end, it will start pushing up a little bit. A little bit, because people have ended their day, they've taken their profit, and now there's a bit of an imbalance that's taking place, getting ready for the New Zealand market to take over again, to recover. That is the breakdown with time, okay? I'm just going to put here 1 p.m. to get ready. The New York market. So when I was talking about Friday, I was talking about how you want to be out of the market around 3 or 4 p.m. tops, because once it gets towards 6 or 7, that is where some weird things happen, where fake reversals happen, where people spot new setups and all that stuff. So you want to be out of the market on the Friday before 4 p.m. 2 to 3 hours into the New York session. Then you're done on that Friday. Begin to withdraw. But this is what you want to do. Out of the market in New Zealand, Australia, Asia, in the market from Frankfurt, London, and New York. If you're good with that, type in a 111 times and seasons. I should have kept time to see when this restart was going to take place. So let me give host to, for last time I gave host to somebody, they didn't know how to give host back. So let me give it to, where's Luca? Luca, I beg stay on. Oh, Luca is gone. Who knows how to give host back? Who knows how to give host back? Kenneth, do you know how to give host back? OG. Oh, Kobe. Yes. Okay, let me find OG. You see the thing? And if I was Luca, I would have removed you. OG. OG from where? Are you on Telegram? As well. So let me give you host. I'm going to pause the recording. Oh, hold on. Let me reclaim host and then pause the recording. I was like, where did the thing go? There we go. Stop recording.